Veggie Tales, Veggie Tales. No?
No.
You don't know about Veggie Tales, Russ?
No.
Veggie Tales. It's like all about these animated vegetables who teach kids how to be good and do good. But today, we're going to teach you how to raise great vegetables, not great kids. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so stick around, guys, and we'll be right back. And I promise I won't sing anymore in this video, so you don't have to listen. Hey, don't you cheer. Be right back after this.
Yeah. Here we go.
Trust me, most Americans will know what Veggie Tales is. It's a kid's show. I can't believe you don't know. No hair from my hairbrush.
Yeah, the carrots and...
Yeah. Oh, where is my hairbrush? Oh, where is my hairbrush? Oh, where is my hairbrush? How do you not know?
Because we didn't get that in the UK, and I'm glad.
No, you shouldn't be. Actually, Veggie Tales was hilarious. The reason they were so popular...
glad we had Tom and Jerry.
You know what? No, that's when you were a kid. This would have been when your kids were kids. And trust me, you wish that you'd had Veggie Tales. Oh, yes, you do. Because you know why?
Right.
They were actually really funny for adults, too. The reason they were so wildly popular is because adults got a kick out of them because they had this sense of humor that was hilarious. Like, no hair for my hairbrush. Like, first of all, Larry's running around saying, where is my hairbrush? Where is my hairbrush? And then at the end, he realizes he doesn't have any hair. So why would he have a hairbrush?
What is he? A potato?
He's a No, he's a cucumber. Larry the cucumber. Bob the tomato. Yeah, you got to know your characters. Come on.
Charlie the carrot.
No, it wasn't Charlie the carrot. Oh. Anyway, welcome back, folks, for this wonderful talk about Veggie Tales. But really, we're here to talk about the vegetables that grow really well in Wisconsin, because actually a lot of our customers that we've worked with do, like, one of the big things when they're buying a house is they want to know, is there space for a vegetable garden?
Yeah.
And we've actually gotten, I mean, one of the best things about being a realtor sometimes is we get fresh produce from people who grow their own gardens.
We do.
Yeah, so it's kind of awesome. We've gotten peppers and tomatoes.
We're in the neighborhood. We pop in to say hi.
And they're like, oh,
and
hey.
leave with a bag of
fresh vegetables and chilies and yep, absolutely. You know who you are, Roger. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, and I mean, Russ and I, we may not look it, but we actually eat a lot of vegetables. We really love vegetables. And we actually have grown some in the last few years. So this is an area that I've improved a lot on because I didn't used to be able to grow anything.
Oh, black thumb there.
Yeah, I was. And yet somehow I seem to be able to grow tomatoes.
And lettuces.
And lettuce. I seem to be able to grow tomatoes and lettuce, and that's a good thing. But if you find any value in our content here today or in any of our past episodes, do us a favor.
Click like, subscribe, and don't forget, turn that notification bell on so you don't miss any future content.
Absolutely. Or content like even today. Like, because we have shorts going out every single day.
Yes.
So actually not shorts today, because our video goes out on Saturdays and our shorts go out Monday through Friday. Yeah. So every day of the week except for Sunday, we've got videos being popped out there. So absolutely, folks, click that subscribe button if you're interested. And if you don't have time for the long form videos all the time, that's okay. You'll just get notified of the shorts, and that can be a lot of fun because you only get us in little tiny doses. And sometimes we're better in small packages, doses, who knows. Anyway, we have some really great ideas. So in Wisconsin, there's actually a lot of vegetables and fruits that you can grow in your, we're calling it a veg garden, but really it's also going to include the fruits that you can grow pretty easily here.
Yeah.
So I would say that we should start with, like, what are the most popular ones?
Well, tomatoes.
Tomatoes, of course. Tomatoes are probably the most popular across the country in general, but in this area, we get really great tomatoes.
We do.
Yeah, we have great soil for tomatoes. It's darker soil with a sand base, so you don't get too much water held with it. And tomatoes just flourish. Heirloom tomatoes, you can get these great, big, massive ones. Have you ever seen them?
They're really good.
I love, the one thing I do love about going to the state fair, and not the state fair, but like the county fairs. I've never been to the state fair, strangely enough. Lived in this area for what now, 15 years or so?
Yeah,
and
to go, actually.
well, maybe, but honestly, I really love the county fairs because that's where you get some of of the really cool vegetables. And they're smaller. You can get through them a lot faster. Plus, you don't get you don't get tempted by funnel cakes as much or cream puffs if you don't go to the Wisconsin State Fair.
Yeah.
But tomatoes are one of the most popular things to grow here, and lots of different varieties.
There are.
I mean,
lots.
I grew something last year and the year before called Hundreds. And essentially they are cherry tomatoes, and they grow like in the hundreds. They grow up the side of the plant like this, has like a center stalk, and all of a sudden it's like pop, 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 all these different tomatoes.
They just carried on growing all year.
They did. And they just carry on and on and on. Yeah. So I will plant them, and I do have some more for this year in seed form. So I will probably start planting them. I normally start planting my tomatoes in March in little pots, and then by May they are ready to go outside.
Yeah.
So I've got these little mini greenhouses that I got off of Amazon. You know what? We should put a link to that in the description. So we're going to put a link to the description to these little mini greenhouses that I got. When I got them, they were like $10. And they're like these little things. You can plant 6 plants in each one. It's got a little top on it. They were perfect for starting.
Yeah.
They were perfect for starting.
Leave the soil damp, and it condensates inside and creates.
Well, and they were really, what makes
moisture.
them really, no, they were, because I still use them. What makes them amazing is that they have an insert that keeps the water in the bottom. So if you overwater a bit, it goes down in the bottom, but then they'll suck it up. So they are really good little mini greenhouses. Awesome.
Yeah.
And my tomatoes did amazing. The other thing that's really popular in Wisconsin is strawberries.
Oh, yeah. I love strawberries.
Yeah. And strawberries are very popular to grow. Lots of people have them. And of course, strawberries are perennial, so you don't, have to plant them again. In fact, they will multiply. And so if you get a nice little patch of strawberries going in your backyard year on year.
Year after year.
Yeah. Now, the only problem with strawberries, in my opinion, is that you have to harvest them in June and then you're done. And I'd like them all the time.
Some people make jam with them and stuff like that.
I know, but the fresh strawberries are awesome. Of course, you can go and pick them at strawberry farms in the area as well. Now, if you want to talk about, I want to talk about some more veg, though, before we go on to the others. So some of the other things, and you're very good at growing.
Peppers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love peppers. I love hot chilies, and I grew quite a few last year.
Oh, I know. He grew habaneros and ate them raw.
Yeah.
From the plant.
I had some others that I grew as well.
Yeah, but the habaneros that you ate straight from the plant, you were nuts. That's nuts. Absolutely insane. But he's grown some red chilies.
Yeah.
And we did try to grow peppers, but I don't think that was down to you. I think it was down to the lateness of us starting them.
Yeah, we did start them rather late.
Yeah, we started them really late, so it wasn't very successful. And ours, we don't have a very big backyard for a garden. And so as a result, we just have like a small box garden at the front, and we're going to have another one. Well, we have another one this year as well, and that one's going to be around the back.
Yeah.
But we have a small box garden at the front, and then we do one around the back, and that's it. It's like off the ground by 2 feet, and that's it. So it makes a nice little garden, so we can get a couple of things in there. But the other thing that does really well in Wisconsin, it's not even on your list, and I don't know why, but that is potatoes and squashes. They're like, just put them in and leave them. They're like a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Except for you do have to check the leaves of the potato plants to make sure that you don't have bugs going on them. So you might have to dust the leaves and stuff to make sure that the plants aren't getting killed. But really, potatoes, they grow so well. I'm going to leave that last one there for last because it is my favorite, and it is so much of it. Can you guess? I would like you to think about what vegetable or fruit do you think that we get so much of in Wisconsin that you just cannot, you get overwhelmed by it. Friends and neighbors are always giving it away. People bring it to church. It's always overwhelming. We'll get back to that in a bit.
I did grow some baby eggplants last year.
You did,
well.
Yes. They were like small. They were like mini eggplants. Yeah. They were bred to be mini eggplants. They were called fairy eggplants.
Yeah.
We had them in a vegetable box we used to subscribe to a few years back, and we thought they were really cool. Yeah. And so you grew some of them last year.
Yeah.
And that was really nice.
A Greek dish with it.
Yeah, that was really nice. Those little fairy zucchini, not zucchinis, the eggplants, little fairy eggplants are really, really nice. So,
We
Now,
call
when it
them
comes to
aubergines in the UK. So.
yes. Now, the other things that that we have as well, of course, carrots, very much like potatoes.
Yeah.
Set them and forget them, but they're done by seeds, of course.
Yeah.
I think carrots actually look really pretty when they're growing because they get those really pretty, like ferny kind of tops to them.
And you can get some really weird shapes as
You
well.
can get some really weird shapes, and there's usually competitions at the county fair for weird shaped vegetables as well. Onions, of course, are another really big one. I don't like doing full onions, but I do love planting and getting what are referred to as spring onions in the UK, or the small onions, the green onions for the salads. And the nice thing about those is you plant them, and then just before you harvest, you plant some more, and then they'll start coming up, and you can kind of keep it going all year, all the way into the falls. You can always
a bit like lettuce last year. I mean, you had great success. You would cut it, but leave some there.
Yes.
And it would regrow.
So I grow leaf lettuce, and I actually just grow it in a pot. I don't put that one in the garden itself. I just grow it in a pot that I keep on my front porch. We have a very sunny front porch, and it grows, and then I just give it a haircut and take it inside, wash it really well, and then another week goes by and it's grown again, and I give it another haircut. So we actually do, in the summertime, we keep ourselves in lettuce pretty regularly from our garden. So
we love salads. So
and we don't really have to buy lettuce in the summer because I can plant enough and it grows well enough on our front porch. And it's a big pot. It's not a small pot. So we've got carrots, lettuce we've talked about, peppers, beans. Oh my goodness. So did I ever tell you that my very first job ever was
picking beans?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
And do you remember what I told you about it? Do you remember how I told you the boys used to cheat? I don't know if you remember that, but we used to pick beans. We'd get paid $1 a bag. And when I say a bag, I mean a brown grocery bag from the store back when they had brown grocery bags. We got paid $1. It was like slave labor. Really what it was to keep a bunch of kids busy so that they weren't getting into trouble, because if they had something to do, we didn't get into trouble.
And they was earning money.
And we got a little bit of money on the side. We also got another $1 if we snipped the beans for the kitchen they were going to.
So how were the boys cheating?
They would pull up the whole plant. Yeah, and they'd pull up one whole plant, they'd stick it in the bottom of their...
all in the bag.
They'd stuff it in, they'd shake it off, and they'd stuff it in the bag, and then they'd go pick a whole bunch of other beans and put it on top of it. So when we took them in, half the bag was just a plant, and half the bag was beans, and they still got paid because they weren't looking through the beans. And then one day, somebody did look through the bag, and they got caught. They didn't get fired, but they did. Then they checked all of our bags from then on. They stuck like a pole, what would I call it? A dowel rod. They had like a thin dowel rod or a handle of a spoon from the kitchen. They'd stick the handle down and just kind of pull it back to make sure there was no plant in the bottom as a filler. Yeah, the boys used to cheat on that. So, what else have we got though that grows really well here? Broccoli and cauliflower.
Our favorite, one of our favorites. Anyway, we love broccoli and cucumbers.
Cucumbers are another big favorite. What else have we got?
Obviously, you've already mentioned squash, so...
Yes. So, and that is summer squash and winter squash.
Yeah.
But let's talk about my absolute favorite that we grow a lot
Pumpkins?
of. No, those are not my favorite. I'm not a pumpkin spice girl. What is it? What's my very favorite? You don't even like it. And what zucchini. Oh, I love zucchini. And honestly, people are like, oh, I have too much zucchini. I have never had too much zucchini in my house in the summer. Now, you want to challenge that? Go ahead, bring us a bunch, and we'll see if I can use it. But I will find a way to use it. Because we make a ratatouille. I like to use it even in my spaghetti sauce in the summer because it just bulks it out and gives it much more veg. Russ is not a big lover of zucchini, but I like it just fried in a pan, like not like deep fat fried, although you like deep fat. You like the breaded zucchini deep fat fried, but I like just like sauteing it in a pan with onions. Delicious. One of my favorites for sure.
Cheese.
No, you don't put cheese on zucchini. Well, okay, Parmesan cheese is not bad. It's
like
kind of like the eggplant fries.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
fries.
enough. I have done that before for you.
Yeah.
So some of the fruits, though, there are a number of fruits that are very native to Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
We've already talked about strawberries.
You got raspberries as well.
Yep, you do. Now, of course, some of our fruits are very much perennials, and that is really nice, too.
Yeah.
So we have blackberries and raspberries.
Blueberries.
Now, it says, when you did the research, it said grapes, but I'll be honest with you, I've never seen grapes be all that successful in Wisconsin.
No.
I know there are wineries, but most of the wineries around here, I mean, they can do grapes, but the things that the wineries do better is they usually do more like apple wines and cranberry wines and things like that. That's what Wisconsin really, really, really is good at. Pears as well.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really nice, it's called, when you take pears and you turn them into wine, it's called perry, Perry, which is actually quite common in the UK.
Yeah.
And I don't actually know what they call it here other than like pear cider or pear wine. They refer to it that way. But if they just referred to it as perry, that would make more sense, which is what they call it in England. But pears we also grow really well because apple trees and pear trees, they just grow really well in our soil.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And even up north, apple trees really, really flourish.
Yeah.
So,
and cherries. I mean,
cherries
look at Door
do.
County.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Totally forgot about cherries for a second there.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely put cherry trees.
And of course,
plum trees.
Number one thing, export
Plums.
from Wisconsin.
Well, yes.
Cranberries.
But, cranberries you can't really grow at your own home.
No.
Because cranberries
need to
grow
flood the garden.
Right. Unless you have a really big piece of land, because cranberries grow in bogs. They grow in very, very wet. It is actually wet, what they grow in. And so it is actually like water, basically, they grow in. And so, yeah, it's not really something most people can do in their homes. But you've got, like you said, you've got cherries, which are very popular. I've seen plums do very well in some of the gardens around here. I sold a house once that had cherry tree, plum tree, pear tree, apple tree.
What was that?
It was like a little mini orchard.
What was that big tree? It had peaches as well.
Yes, they had peaches
off it.
Yep.
And there was that it was like blue. Was it loganberry?
Oh, yes. They had loganberries as well. Yes. That house had like this own little mini orchard, basically.
It did, yeah.
It was almost an acre of land, and they had some of them were dwarf trees. A lot of them were dwarfs, but there was a lot of fruit trees, and they did quite well. So
yeah, they did produce very well.
They did very, very well. So what do you have to pay attention to? Well, determine whether you want to have trees or whether you just want to have like low-level plants. And then you want to look at what your planting times are for things.
Yeah.
So and in Wisconsin, because we do have longer winters and our harvest usually happens in September or October, depending, potatoes and carrots can go till October if you need them to, because they're, earth under the ground vegetables. Onions as well, although onions get a little bit iffy in October, but September we're solid on onions. Yeah. But then you've got to pay attention to your planting times. Oh,
most plants are early spring.
Do you know what I forgot to mention? Cantaloupe and watermelon. Those are very popular to grow here in Wisconsin as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you have to understand, I grew up on a house that had a huge garden out back. And where we live now, we don't have a huge garden. So we don't grow much of that. Plus, Russ and I, watermelon and cantaloupe, they're okay, but they're not our favorite fruits. And they do take a long time to grow. So we don't grow them ourselves. But you have to look at the soil prep too.
Yeah.
Because different vegetables need different types of soil.
Oh, yeah.
So the climate is something to consider in that most people start their seeds in March. Yep. So that they can plant in May.
Plant in early spring.
Yep. So they can plant in May, sometimes as late as June. Strawberries, of course, being perennials, they'll start blooming whenever they can bloom, and usually are harvested in June. Zucchini and lettuce and things like that are harvested all throughout the summer. But zucchini doesn't usually start harvesting until July.
Yeah.
And then in August, every church in this state is filled with baskets of zucchini because people are trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, what you're looking for is the last day of any frost.
Yes.
So you don't want frost after you've planted out into your garden. So.
Well, especially not things like tomatoes and peppers and things of that nature. I usually plant my lettuce directly seed-wise into my pot. Not indoor. I don't start it indoors. I usually start it outdoors because you can just throw a ton of seeds in there, and lettuce seeds are really inexpensive.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing you want to keep in mind is when you are planting seeds, what kind of seeds do you want? One of the reasons we started planting some of our own vegetables is because organic vegetables at the store are extremely expensive, and we would prefer to have healthier food in our house.
Yeah.
And so we supplement. We can't completely make all of our own stuff. We'd love to, but we don't have the space to do it. But we try to supplement what we eat with more organic veg that we do ourselves. So we know what's going in the soil. We know exactly what's coming out of the soil and what to expect. So that's really good. So
and it provides us with a tasty treat.
Absolutely. So we have what they're called microclimates. So for example, where we live in the southeast here in Racine, we actually have a very sunny, warm summer. But if you get up north further, you're going to see more potatoes and carrots and onions and squash and things that are more hardy. You're going to see more of those plantings. They do have tomatoes, but a lot of people up north who do tomatoes, they do them in pots, and they start them inside and then just bring the pots outside and let them continue in the pots and harvest as they go. Otherwise...
Or they'll have a greenhouse where they grow.
Yes, or if they have a greenhouse. If they're really into it, they'll have a greenhouse. But up north, you do start it. The frost doesn't go away till June. Yeah. And the frost comes in usually in mid-September, so you have a much shorter growing season. So you do, where you are in Wisconsin makes a difference. If you're in where we are. Now, of course, composting, big fan of composting.
Yep.
Love taking the leaves every year, stuffing them. And we've got a great big spare garbage can, not one of the cities, but one that we owned before the city gave us the official ones. And that is essentially my compost bin.
Yeah.
Throw all sorts of leaves and throw water on it. And
grass and stuff like that.
Yep. Grass clippings. And yep, all sorts of things, and stir it around occasionally, mix it up, and try and get it to decay.
Water and sand and paper. And
yep, exactly. It's a black one as well, so the heat retains in it pretty well.
Yeah.
And get it all mushy, gushy, and disgusting, because that's what compost is supposed to be. That's how it gives your soil some really great stuff. So, of course, paying attention to the frost. And then let's talk about like what kind of gardens that people want to have, because, of course, you have different types.
Yeah.
So you've got the kind where you just till up the ground and plant it right in the ground.
Now, of course, you can always have your soil tested.
Yes.
They do soil testing kits for between $10 and $20.
Yep.
So you can get those.
Yep. And you can actually get composting bags. If you don't have an extra garbage can like mine, you can actually buy bags that have nutrients in them that help decay the stuff, and you throw all the bits in the bags.
Yeah.
Or getting a big spinning tub type thing. We had those when I was growing up because we had more space. So it depends on how much space you have for this garden.
Yeah.
But then you also have, the other thing you have is a lot of people are going to raised beds.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that. Ease of use, because you're not bending down so much.
But it's also the ease of controlling the soil.
Yes.
Because you don't know maybe what's in the soil where you've moved to. And so if you raise the bed and you're filling the soil in, you can change the soil from bed to bed based on what plants you want to put in it. So that's another reason why a lot of people do raised beds.
Yeah.
So,
and it means you're not fertilizing the whole garden.
Right.
You're just doing the bits that you're going to be growing food in.
Absolutely. And a lot of people will use growth suppression sheets and like cut holes just for their plants to be in. And that helps keep the weeds down.
And also the other pests.
Yeah, the pests that will harm your gardens.
Snails and stuff like that.
We don't have many snails in Wisconsin.
No, they get frozen.
Russ does things like snails because he forgets he's in Wisconsin sometimes, and they have a lot of snails in England.
Oh, slugs and snails, yeah.
Slugs and snails are the same thing just about.
No, they're not. One's got a shell.
Okay, a slug is a homeless snail. That's essentially what it is. That's the only difference between the two. It's homeless. It doesn't have a home. It doesn't have a shell.
And the French eat them.
Yes, snails and slugs, which are just the meat.
They don't eat the slugs. They just eat the snails.
So they don't even take care of the homeless ones? Like what? No. They eat the snails that have shells, and then what? The slugs don't even get the shells to move into the home? That's just a shame. That's the French for you. So wasteful. Anyway, If so, you might want to use row covers to protect the plants. Some other things, deer fencing. Oh, we didn't even talk about the pests. Okay, so the other issue that we have pest-wise in our neighborhood is bigger pests than, snails. What's the bigger pest that we have that comes in our yard?
Raccoon.
Yeah. They are so annoying. And we've actually had a fox in our area. It hasn't been in our backyard, but we've heard of neighbors.
And we've had coyotes in the area as well. They haven't come down.
They haven't come down into our neighborhood, but they are definitely in the Racine area. They do try to capture them and rehome them outside into a more country area. But if you live in a more country area, you do need to put up deer fencing. You will have issues, your blackberries and raspberries, if they're kind of out in the open and away from your house. If there's any bear activity, you're gonna have bears love berries. They love them. So
do the birds. So you need to.
Yep. Sometimes people will put netting over it to keep the birds from pecking at.
I've seen people putting up these fake owls or hawks.
Yes. Yep.
To try and scare the birds away.
Yep. Exactly. That's another way. So you definitely want to, but the deer fencing can be really crucial to the success of a garden when you live out.
Yeah.
When you live out away from the city, because deer are very prevalent in Wisconsin. They are everywhere.
Yeah.
And even in some of the city areas that have like the larger lots where you have a 1 acre lot and, a more wooded subdivision type thing, you will absolutely see deer, and that deer fencing becomes essential.
I often see them at your parents'.
Yeah, well, deer will come in and they will eat the tops off of carrots and off of onions, and that's super annoying because the tops are what bring the nutrients down into the carrot underneath, and if it doesn't have a top, then it's dead. It's gone. Too bad. Rain barrels. Of course, you got to think about watering systems.
Yeah.
So a lot of people use rain barrels. Some people actually put rain barrels underneath their gutters so that when it rains, it fills up their rain barrel.
Yeah, keeps it full.
Yeah, something that we do for sure. So love that. I mean, I love being able to just take the rain barrel and just spray it over the garden, So I think it's kind of nice. I've seen, and I'd like to make one for ours, but put some wheels underneath it so we could wheel it from the front to the back. That'd make it very convenient with a hose tap on it. Perfect. Awesome. And obviously you need to do pruning if you're going to do the trees, like the apple trees and the pear tree. If you're going to do any kind of orchard. Yep. You've got to think about pruning. You've got to think about watering. You've got to think about pest control. And you've also got
to pick up the fruit. You'll get full, fruit that falls on the ground. You
want to make sure you get them before they fall on the ground.
Yeah,
because honestly,
they just start rotting.
They start rotting so quickly if they fall. First of all, because when they fall, they get slightly bruised. So you really got to keep up with the harvesting of your fruit if you're using a tree. If you have a tree type harvest, because otherwise they will just fall to the ground and get ruined. And
of course, we haven't spoken about herbs either.
Oh my goodness!
Growing herbs like basil and rosemary and thyme.
Basil. As Americans say. We do say rosemary, we do say thyme.
You say tomatoes, we say tomatoes.
And how do you pronounce the other herb that you use for Italian stuff?
Oregano.
Oregano. So it's not oregano, it's not like Oregon with a O at the end. It's not oregano.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's oregano.
I've been to Italy. Well, so have you, actually.
I've been to Italy, too. But we're in America, so it's oregano here. But yes, a lot of people have little herb gardens as well. You're right. We didn't even talk about herb gardens.
No.
But I think we're going to leave it with that, you guys. But you do know that now, if you have not tried a garden, then you should absolutely give it a try. Having a nice vegetable garden is a lot of fun.
And we bought, on our porch, that stacking system.
Yep.
It was really good last year.
Yes. That was actually 2 years ago we bought the stacking system.
Oh, was it 2
years
Yes,
we've used it 2 years now.
And
this is our third year using it.
Great up to a point.
Yes.
But anything too big, you need to plant in its own.
It's perfect for strawberries. It's perfect for peppers.
Yeah.
Not full on peppers, but your little chili peppers. It worked really well.
Yeah.
So it does work for a lot of small stuff, but not for anything that's big and heavy like your full on peppers. It does work for the cherry tomatoes, those hundreds that I did.
Yeah, they were good.
That worked, but yeah. And herbs. The nice thing is you can put herbs in the top as well. So that works really well. But I think that's pretty much it for planting.
Yeah.
Whew, we covered a lot of stuff today, guys. If you have never done a garden, put a comment below. We'd love to hear about your gardening that you would like to do. If you have done a garden, what have been your biggest successes or failures? So definitely, if you do find any value in this content, do us a favor, click like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our content, and drop that comment below and let us know what type of gardening are you into, because we'd love to know. Or maybe
you could give us some tips.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're just new to gardening. I used to garden when I was younger, but I'm back into it now, and I haven't really done it since I was a kid. So when I was forced to by parents and other other parental unit type things.
It's really good when you can grow your own food.
It is. It is really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys later. Bye for now.
Yeah. Here we go.